Hey, how you going? Vaping MacGyver here. Well, it is Friday night. I got a cold beer and some new vape stuff. Always exciting. So Freemax has sent me their new pod device, but it's a direct lung pod. So 50 watt, called the Autopod50. We're going to have a look at it. I've already taken the wrapper off. Let's get in there and have a look. Now, I don't know if this is the real color or not. We'll see when I open it. And oh my god, it is. Have a look at that. Well, yeah, it's the picture is spot on. Look at that. Super blue, super gold, gradient, sparkly. Wow, that's something. Okay, I'm really interested in this because I'm so many pod devices out, just pods everywhere. And I'm not a huge pod user. I generally like direct lung. So for the people who like direct lung and you feel like you've been missing out a little bit on these nice little compact, all-in-one, easy-to-use devices, this might be for you. But I know nothing about this device yet. So we can go through and do all the tests if you like. If you want to know all the technical stuff about this device, I can do that. I have actually, speaking of pods, I have been using their new Max Pod. I won't talk too much about that because I'll do a video for it as well. I'm actually going to pull this apart tonight as well, so we'll see if I get the video done at the same time as this one. But I want to get this one out first because I don't think anyone has got this yet, and I haven't seen any other videos on YouTube. So I'm going to try and be first for once instead of months late. Okay, so I got a little sticker there on the coil. That's a good touch just to make sure the mod can't fire while it's in transit. That's pretty cool. There's your little refill. Just looks like just an overgrown pod, really. Now, I think the claim to fame on this device is that it's a dual coil pod. So dual coil direct lung. And you can see down in there, it looks almost exactly like and the same kind of size as the smaller mesh coils, like the coils from Freemax that fit in the twister and the what's the other one called? The name escapes me. Oh god damn it! Their other mesh tank. The Firelurk 2. Oh my god, Firelurk 2 size coils. Looks like exactly like that style of coil, which is good because I really like those coils. I always use the duals, triples, or quads in the mesh. The Firelurk 2. I find they're much better flavor than the single coil. Not a fan of the Freemax single coils, but they're all the other coils, dual, triple, quads. I haven't tried. I think there's a 6 coil one as well. They've all been awesome for flavor and long life. I think 2 weeks I get out of the coils no problem, and I haven't had any duds. So as far as Freemax goes for coils, I reckon they're on it. I reckon they're ahead of the game, and I don't expect this to be any different. I don't know if you can see right down there, that cotton does look a little bit loosely packed, which is a bit weird, but that'll probably all swell up once we get some juice in there. Okay, what else can we see about this device? So Freemax hasn't really done regulated devices. I don't think they've done a dual 18650 or anything like that. This is an internal cell, but it is like a regulated device with a screen. Pretty dim. Might not even be able to see that under lights. Yeah, pretty dim. Very heavily smoked lens there over the screen. Kind of pretty old school looking LCD there actually, but that's alright, I don't mind that. I don't need anything too tricky. Whole watt increments on the wattage, which is great. I love that. I hate 0.1 watt. It's just a pain in the bum. You go to adjust your wattage and you want to go at 5 watts and you got to go through 0.1 watt increments to get there. There's just, who can tell the difference between 0.1 of a watt difference on your setting? Like, I can't. No, I don't think anyone can. 0.1, that's nice. Sorry. God damn it. So whole watt increments is nice. I like that. Pretty loud, clicky buttons, but not in a good way. That feels a bit cheap. But, okay. Moving right along. It's a maximum 50 watt. So you'll be able to use different coils in this pod, I assume. Let's have a look what else is in the pack. Okay. What do we got in here? The goodies. We have standard, normal stuff. We have user manual. We have warranty card that no one ever reads or fills out. It's completely useless. Warning card, which probably no one else reads either. Normal stuff. Don't place it near a fire source. Don't stick it in your fireplace. That's not a good idea. High temperature, humidity, strong electromagnetic environment. Do not place in microwave. It actually says, do not place in microwave or pressure vessel. Don't try to microwave your mod. If it gets wet, it will explode. Hopefully that's common sense. Do not use the device if you're under the legal age of vaping. Do not use the device when charging. I like using my device while charging, especially if you get home and your battery's empty and you really want to vape and you got nothing else set up. So that's a bit annoying. Been using, did I already say this? I've been using the Max Pod. My God. So on the Max Pod, you can't vape while charging, which is a little bit annoying, but this guy charges super fast. It's like 30 minutes, so not too big of a deal. By the way, speaking of charging, this charges at 2 amps, I believe, which is nice. So it's a 2000 milliamp hour internal cell in this guy, and yep, 2 amp fast charging within 80 minutes at the most is what the instruction book says. So that's pretty good, pretty quick. That is fairly aggressive charge rate for a 2000 milliamp hour cell. Like if you go by the C rate, that's pretty much like charging 30Q, your normal sort of 18650 at 3 amps. So that's pretty high. I know most people like to charge at sort of 0.5, 1 amp if they got the time. But then again, if you've got external cells, you've probably got multiple sets and you can have one charging fairly slowly like while you use the other set. So more of a priority to charge these guys quickly, I think. And especially if you're just swapping to vaping, if you're just quitting smoking and, you know, you guys remember swapping to vaping, and you need your nicotine because you've got all the cravings and you're like just desperately trying not to smoke. And I think the convenience of having this charge quickly, getting you back vaping is worth it for the little bit extra wear you'll put on the cell, because it will put a little bit of extra stress on the cell charging it at 2 amps on a 2000 milliamp hour. But like not stupid, not crazy. But you know, they've got a lifetime anyway. The cell's got a lifetime. Once they're knackered, you throw the device away. That's just how they are. You should be able to get some good time out of it. So what we can do, what I will do eventually, do a full test on this device, check the internal cell, see if it's really 2000 milliamp hour. I can do all the normal tests, like see how well it charges, stuff like standby current, if it's actually putting out 50 watts, efficiency, all that sort of stuff. But let me know what you guys want to see, because I'm really just doing it for everyone's interest. I've got a whole bunch of tools, oscilloscope and multimeters and battery testers, all that sort of stuff. So I can do pretty much anything. Let me know what in particular you like to see. I'm going to assume you want to know if it's actually 2000 milliamp hour at the top of the list, because I think that's pretty important. I hate it when they overrate it and they say it's 2000 milliamp hour and you pull it apart, it's got like a 1500 in it, because that's crap and that's false advertising. But the other Freemax devices I've checked so far have been pretty much right. The internal cell has been the same as what they rate the device at. But anyway, can check that. Let me know what you want to see. All right, so that's a lot of talking. What we'll do is throw some liquid in this and see how it vapes. Because, yeah, as I said, I prefer direct lung, and I'm actually interested if I can use this as a daily device, if it's got enough power. I'm normally at about 65 to 70 watts on the other Freemax coils. So it's a little bit lower. I might have to bump up the nicotine a little bit, I reckon. But we'll see how it goes. I reckon the flavor should be pretty good off these dual coils if it's like the other Freemax. And I mean, pretty slick looking little device. I like the paint job. Not sure how long it's going to last. But looks pretty cool if you're into out there colors. There's There's no mistaking that, is there? See what other colours they've got. Maybe they've got a black. Okay, there's some liquid in it. That way. Okay, so you got to pop the pod out to fill it, just like every other pod. Decent sized little fill slot there, I guess you'd call it. Fill port. And we'll fill him right up. Pop the plug back in. I'm always a little bit wary of these rubber plugs because that's all that's stopping the liquid getting out and flooding into your device. Now the airflow is actually down here on this little ring. So yeah, that's good. You can change your airflow on this guy. I'm assuming I'm going to be using it wide open. Oh, it is actually quite wide open. Either direct long sit-ups over there, but it's quite open. Actually, it's very similar to. It's actually probably a bit more than the Philo 2. It's probably almost Mesh Pro level. Okay. It's a bit less in the device. I have no idea where that's actually getting air from. Oh, okay, there we go. There's a little slot just above there where the air goes in, down through there, and then up into the coil. So if you're holding it, that might be a little annoying. If you're holding it there, and then it's going to block the airflow off. A little bit of a plastic smell, which I'm kind of drawing air in all through here before it gets to the coil. So a little bit of a plastic smell there. All right. And these Freemax coils wick up really quickly. See down into there, those coils are already looking fairly wicked up, fairly wet. It's nice. All right. I don't know what this coil is meant to be vaped at. So the coil that comes pre-installed in the pod is an AX2 mesh coil. AX2. Very hard to see. 0.25 ohm. We've got 30 to 50 watts on the pre-installed, and the spare is a 0.5 ohm, 15 to 35 watt. Just in case you want to vape a little bit lower wattage, which is good for battery life on these little built-in battery mods. Just noticing the coil itself on these, the coil material on these pods is super thin. Probably not going to be able to see down into there, but the actual mesh down there is super, super thin. Like, it's much smaller than the other Freemax coils I've seen. Tiny, like just little threads. And a lot of space in between them. That's interesting. Wonder what the... I can't quite see down into there. Maybe a little bit thicker. Looks like a little bit thicker wire strands on the coil. They're not really wire strands. It's kind of like a little cutout sheet with a pattern in it. Okay, let's vape him. 30 watts. Good flavor already. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, very good, very good. And the flavor straight up. Yep, taste the sweetness of that liquid. Taste the coconut, no problems whatsoever. Almost tastes like pina colada. It's not. It's kind of a coconutty chocolate juice, but coconut's coming through really strong. Actually, that's surprising for 30 watts. Yeah, that doesn't even really need much more than 30 watts, I feel. Which would be good because that'd make the battery last longer. We'll try it at 35. Wow, that's pretty good. That's actually really good. That's that feels pretty similar to the Firelink 2 at 65 watts. Pretty similar. Yeah, that's atomizing liquid really, really well. And I've already had a couple of beers tonight, so for those of you who do like a drink and then vape, which if you're a vapor and then you have a couple of beers, I'm sure you're going to be vaping a lot and probably more than normal. It always feels like the nicotine level in your liquid goes down, or you don't notice it. You don't notice the throat hit as much, and you just don't get that same throat feeling. And I'm getting that no problems even after a couple of beers. So I know it's it's putting out some vapor. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, that's got flavor straight away. That's without letting those coils really soak in. That's literally just a minute or two, and straight up to 35 watts, no problem. Definitely saturated. It's already putting condensation on that drip tip, so there's no problem about liquid getting to that coil. Yeah, okay. Well, that's don't know what else to tell you. That's a first look at the Autopod50. I'm sure I'll find out more things about this as I use it. And yeah, again, let me know what you want to see tested on it, all the technical stuff, battery, charging, all that sort of stuff. Let me know what you want to see. Might be a little while because I've got to do this guy first. And I'm going to do a dismantle video on that right now, see what is inside it, and start testing it. Cool. Thanks for watching. See ya.